force in place right now when we need it. So I therefore commend this bill to the House.
Speaker.
I call Dr Shane Reti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a pleasure to take a short call on this bill, which we will be supporting to Select Committee. This bill has a long history. If we look at the water drinking standards in New Zealand, the core of this bill makes amendments to the 1956 Health Act, which clearly is quite old. It was re-amended in 2007 as the Health Drinking Water Amendment Act, and then the 2013 Health Amendment Act. As we've heard, the Havelock North inquiry has been the hastener to this bill, particularly Part 2, which talks to the policy settings. The bill itself has four main provisions. The first provision is the mechanism by which the Ministry of Health makes changes to the drinking water standards. And as we've heard, the before and after situation is before there was 3 years consultation required. That will come down to just adequate consultation. And gazetting for 2 years, that will come down to 28 days, clearly needing to be more responsive, but also acknowledging technological advances whereby we can assess water as compared to the 1956 Act. The second of the four provisions is the water safety plans, requiring a timeliness of them. Now, a water safety plan was initially known actually as a public health risk management plan for drinking water supplies, and it was amended in 2013 to become the water safety plans. I'm sure we'll hear more about this in Select Committee, but a water safety plan has three main parts to it. It talks about the source, it talks about treatment, it talks about distribution. The source part primarily focuses on groundwater and roof. The treatment process part 2, is quite extensive. It talks about pre-treatment, treatment, filtration, disinfection, fluoridation and transmission. So we'll have a lot of discussion, I'm sure, in Select Committee around that. As I mentioned, the third part is distribution. The third main provision that this bill enables is the appointment of drinking water assessors. And again, I expect to know more about that from Select Committee, but they have three fundamental processes: a water assessor, that is to assess the performance of drinking water suppliers and their compliance with the water safety plan; secondly, to notify appropriate officials of any issues; and thirdly, to assess the competence of the people who are actually analysing the drinking water. The fourth and last provision to this bill is removing redundant notifications of designated ports and airports. And I looked back through the old bill, it wasn't clear why it was there in the first place. It was sort of lumped together with bulk suppliers, network suppliers, water carriers, designated ports and airports, and so this is primarily an administrative task, labelling everything henceforth as water carriers. Looking forward to this bill coming to Select Committee and commend to the House here now.
I call the Honourable Ron Mark.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's an interesting time.